baseball thoughts are in the air right now because the commissioner himself was on ESPN Sunday Night Baseball last week in Williamsport, Pennsylvania, where the Little League World Series is underway. And they have a game there every year. This year it was the Mets and the Mariners. Good stuff. We got to see Cal Raleigh hit a home run in front of all the kids.
Oh, fun.
Good times. The Mariners did lose, though. So, and they've been falling a little bit lately. More on that in a little bit. But the commissioner was on ESPN, and he started talking about a few popular topics in the game of baseball: expansion and realignment. And in case you are unfamiliar with what that would mean, it basically means that they want to bring in more new teams into the league. Probably 2 is what the rumor is right now. So we would grow from 30 teams overall to 32. And what this would mean is that we would have an opportunity to then maybe realign divisions, bring different teams together, like redraw up the map, if you will.
And remind me, the last 2 teams that were expanded, that was the Rockies and the... No, it wasn't.
The Rockies and the Marlins were in 93, but the Diamondbacks and the Tampa Bay Rays were in 1998.
Okay, so that was the last time they expanded the rosters.
It's the last time they expanded franchises and added teams to the mix. Yes, correct. correct. So, and right now, if you are unfamiliar, we have 5 teams and 3 divisions in 2 leagues. So that breaks into 30 teams, and the math is nice and even. So when you start adding just 2 teams, if you keep everything the same as it is now, things would start to get unbalanced again. You would have 6 teams in a division versus 5, and that would only be in 2 divisions, and it would be in 1 in each league. And is that fair?
Yeah.
So
you have to figure out the math before you start doing this.
All right. Well, we are working on our own special presentation for realignment and expansion, and I'm really excited about it. It's going to be a little bit of a different piece for us with just more narration and video. So please like us and subscribe to the channel, and you can stay tuned for that video and look forward to it because it's going to be great. I promise. It's going to be... We got some ideas that no one else is discussing in all of this, so I'm pretty excited about that. But with all this baseball talk in the air, there's also been a lot of talk about the game in general, I feel like. And, well, I happened to find this clip of Ken Rosenthal, again, from Monday of this week. And I think Ken smells that all this talk about baseball is in the air as well because he started talking about the brand of baseball that the Milwaukee Brewers are playing. Right now. And if you've been sleeping under a rock, the Brewers are the first team to now have 80 wins this year. And they might do something that people thought was impossible, which is win 100 games this
season.
Yeah.
They already broke their franchise record by winning, 14 in a row?
Yes, they did win 14 in a row. The Cubs did take 3 out of 5 from them this week, but it was looked at as kind of anticlimactic because... they had a chance to win the final 4 in a row, and they fell short on the final game. And, instead of gaining 4 games in a row, you gain 1 game in the end. That's baseball. Anyways, this is a rare thing for me, finding myself agreeing with Ken Rosenthal. Nika, do you have that clip ready so we can hear what Ken had to say about the state of the game of baseball?
At a time when too many organizations place too much emphasis on the next big analytical thing and too little emphasis on sound fundamental play. Now, as I wrote, and I want to be very clear about this.
Absolutely.
We've heard a lot of teams don't even take infield anymore as a team, right? And that the Padres last year were one of the teams that made 5 minutes for it every day, and they couldn't even do a full infield. So they had to do selective drills like first and third situations or bunting situations or whatever, whatever they wanted to work on that day, though, they had to be selective and they had to keep it mixed up and keep it moving.
It's really spot on.
Weird to me as someone that grew up playing the game of baseball that you wouldn't want to take infield as a team together, especially with which guys are out there. You have different guys out there every day, and
how many times do we see teams losing games because of the fundamentals?
If you watched the Giants at all this week play the Padres, it was ugly. There was bad fundamentals all across the games.
Dodgers, Yankees, all these teams that are being glorified by the mainstream media lose fundamental baseball.
Yeah. They do. They don't. They seem to lack discipline. The Yankees, especially, have been in the media this year for it. You know, they've made a lot of sloppy plays.
Okay.
I want to be very clear about this because people get excited and upset. I am not bashing analytics. Far from it. Analytics are integral to the game. They've been an important part for years now. They help players get better. They help teams evaluate. They enhance everything about baseball.
Hardly
What
disagree.
I am
What do you want to say?
Does it help players get better? If you lack fundamentals, you're not getting better.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna get into it. We're gonna. I wonder where the line is with him. You know, like is for example, is hitting the outside pitch to the opposite field fundamentals? I would argue it is. It's a way you're taught to play the game as a kid.
That's how you get
so when
to
I
baseball.
see major leaguers constantly rolling over, not going with the pitch, trying to pull the pitch into the seats instead of going with the pitch and taking the opposite field line drive or whatever the team is giving you, then I think that's a fundamental to me. That's not being applicable to the game. All right, go ahead.
saying here.
Yeah.
What my point is,
he's got a point.
is that while organizations seem to obsess over enhancing pitching velocity, hitters' exit velocities, why can't they do the same on the fundamental side? Why can't they emphasize and stress running the bases properly, hitting the cutoff man, all the little things, all the subtleties that make baseball such a wonderful sport? We've talked a lot about the Yankees' flaws in recent weeks, right? We've kind of focused on them. It goes back to Game 5 of last year's World Series. But it's not just the Yankees who often stumble their way through games. We see this with...
If the Yankees weren't the team doing it, would we be talking about it?
No.
Yeah.
Because you know what? Arizona played the same game when they were in the playoffs. What happened? We can't have Arizona in playoffs.
Yeah.
It's not big team. It's not a draw. It doesn't draw enough people. We need East Coast, West Coast versus sluggers.
I'm just merely pointing out the fact that if the Yankees weren't the team that was playing so sloppy,
we wouldn't have this conversation.
We wouldn't be necessarily drawing so much attention to it. But because it's the Yankees, we're questioning all of a sudden, has the game of baseball gotten too sloppy?
Yes.
Yes, it's been that way for a while, in case you haven't noticed.
And the media constantly pressing velocity. How much hard you're going to hit the ball? Where is it going to go?
We're going to get into it all in 1 second. But let's just let him finish. He's almost done. I promise.
Great.
Every team in every game, every night. It drives a lot of fans crazy, drives a lot of old school baseball people crazy, drives some media crazy. It's not the game that we grew up watching. And I'm not talking about going back 20 years, no analytics. No, just play the game right.
It's such a cop-out ending here. And otherwise, it was a pretty good segment, actually, here from Ken Rosenthal. And
I agree.
I don't get myself agreeing with Ken Rosenthal very often.
But where is his responsibility in this?
Right. So let's get into a couple things he said, because he raised a great question here, but he didn't really give a great answer. And he said, why are we able to chase velocity and chase power, but we can't apply fundamentals at the same way? And it's because those two things come into conflict with each other. That's the problem, Ken. So I thank you for raising a great question here, but the answer is something that you don't want to say out loud, and that a lot of people don't want to say out loud. It's because when you chase velocity, you forego mechanics. Your arm slot and your arm angle start getting cheated into different positions that they shouldn't normally go in. And oh, by the way, that puts undue stress on your elbow ligament.
Epidemic of Tommy John surgeries.
All explainable because of fundamentals.
Exactly.
That's what
but
you're
we
talking
can't talk about
here.
this.
To me, when you're talking about mechanics of pitching, you're talking about fundamentals. I'm not saying that every player should have robot same mechanics.
No, no.
When you see an epidemic of Tommy Johns being caused by the same thing, which is that those pitchers cheat their arm angle up and they don't do a full circular rotation with their arm, this is where we are. I would also say the same thing about power. If you chase power, you are going to sacrifice your contact rate. And that's why you see more guys striking out than ever before. That's why the strikeout rate per game is twice what it used to be in the 90s. Twice. You can argue all you want about steroids or whatever, but this happened, the game was played this way before steroids came into it. Guys were making contact with the ball, hit and runs, action. Baseball was an action game. It wasn't what it's become, which is a slugfest where you get behind and, we got to hit homers if we're going to get back in it.
Right. And that's what it is nowadays. And it's not sexy to talk about runners on base.
The last thing I want to say about this is I feel like it's sad to me that Ken Rosenthal, of all people, is wanting to find this, and yet the team that hates him the most, the San Diego Padres, because of his slanderous journalism, actually play this kind of baseball.
They did.
I know they're not having the best results right now offensively, but Mike Schilt ball, as it was called in April when the Padres were red freaking hot, that is this kind of baseball. Padres, the only reason why they're still alive with their anemic offense is because they play fundamental baseball.
Yes, and last season they played great fundamental baseball.
Even better than this year, probably.
Right, till they got to the playoffs where they forgot their own brand of baseball tried to play to the way of the Dodgers.
I 100% agree with you.
It's sad.
Every team's fundamentals, will be communicated in different ways.
Oh, sure.
But the Padres' fundamentals were this: we're using the whole field, we're putting the ball in play, putting runners in motion, wreaking havoc on the other team's defense, pushing levers, pressing them, putting the pressure on them. Then they go scoreless for 24 straight innings and they're out of the playoffs and done. Because why? Because they stopped doing that. They started pressing.
Yeah, absolutely. Cubs at the beginning of the season or somewhere in the middle played the same kind of a fundamental game. Mm-hmm. Brewers, the same thing right now.
The Brewers are doing it better than anybody right now.
Right.
And they're doing it to success. So, anyways.
But you need a mixed bag. You still need sluggers and you need base runners. You need both. That's why baseball is such a great sport. When you have the balance, everything clicks.
It does. It does. All right. Well, Ken Rosenthal wasn't the only one offering up some baseball opinions recently when it comes to the establishment baseball media. And I want to go back now all the way to the trading deadline when Jeff Passan was giving a tweet about a breaking trade between the Pittsburgh Pirates and the New York Yankees when this exchange happened with Doug Mankiewicz, former Minnesota Twins player, and went on to become a journeyman after that. Okay. But former Major League Baseball player Doug Mankiewicz. And here is their exchange on Twitter. Jeff Passan tweets out, among the return to the Pirates in the Bednar deal, per ESPN sources, catcher Rafael Flores, who tore up AA, is now at AAA and is a top-shelf framer and is regarded as a big league-ready catcher. A very good centerpiece. Also in it, Edglin Perez, who is 19 with excellent swing decisions. And it's that last line here that's going to get Doug Mankiewicz all fired up, Nika. Because he writes back in response, man, what a time to be alive when a non-baseball person writes, quote, excellent swing decisions for a guy hitting 209 in A-ball and is a career 241 hitter. I swear, some scouts and writers will say anything to sound somewhat intelligent to non-baseball people. And, this got Jeff Passan pretty upset. And he decided that he was going to fire back or clap back, as they say. That decision came from a scout, Doug. Do you hate them too? Or are you just bitter because batting average is no longer the metric people care about? And it's the only one you were ever good at. Stay bitter, guy. Wow. Harsh words from Jeff Passan. I would like to take a couple things he said to task, particularly batting average is no longer the metric people care about. I certainly care about it. But Doug Mankiewicz was not done. He says in response, glad you finally admitted that, guy. Here is a line you should never forget. I can do what you do. You can't do what the players do. Bitter? Nope. Not at all. Without players, you have no job. Without scouts, you have zero knowledge. Don't forget it, guy. What is this, South Park? You're not my buddy, guy. I'm not your guy, buddy. Oh, boy. Jeff Passan, it's a good thing I'm trying not to play, Doug. The sad part is that you're trying to think and you are absolutely terrible at it. There's nothing more sad than an old ball player who wants things to be like they once were and is too incurious to care the game passed them by. That sounds kind of like the Joker in The Dark Knight.
I know.
You just want things to go back the way that they were. Jeff Passan, are you masquerading as the villain here? He went on. You had a good career. You were a good ball player. You did things I never could. That doesn't give you license to say stupid things. Oh, I don't know a lot, so I ask people who do. You think you know a lot, and those who actually do laugh at you. I see what Jeff's trying to do here, but he's also trying to play innocent while at the same time he's poking a bear. Doug wrapped this conversation up. He says, it's simple and you got your feelings hurt. Just because people comment doesn't mean they are mad. It's common courtesy to mention the people who gave you your info. I know plenty from experience as a player and as a manager and coach. You speak of laughing at me. If you don't think some players and other respected writers don't laugh at you, that's comical. It's simple. Just give the people giving you info the credit like you give the players credit. Simple. And I kind of have to agree with Doug here. And Jeff, you really should just put that a scout told you that in your original tweet. Like all you had to do was say, according to a scout.
Isn't like the number one rule of writing, give people credit where you get your sources from?
Well, it's just, you're the one that comes across looking like you're saying he has excellent swing decisions, and you're saying that about a guy that's hitting 209 in A-ball and has a 241 career batting average in professional baseball in the minor leagues. Where I come from, that's not very good swing decisions, because if you were making better swing decisions, you would have a higher batting average.
Right.
So I feel like Jeff Passan needs to at least add that information that according to a scout, he has really good swing decisions. Take the onus off of you, and you don't have to name the scout. You don't have to put him out there. You can just say according to a scout with this organization or whatever.
Sure.
There's millions of ways you can go about giving someone credit for saying this without, but here, just leaving it as an open statement, like you're the one saying it.
Right. It comes across as
wrong to me. I know we're limited on characters here, Jeff. I also want to kind of say that Jeff saying that he gets his information from people who know what they're talking about is him being biased. His sources are only giving him their opinion. So he's saying in a roundabout way that the sources giving him their opinion are better and no more than Doug Mankiewicz does, who was a former player. Do you see where it rubs the road the wrong way? I mean, scouts and players are not going to be friends. You know, no one wants to hear their inefficiencies, right?
Sure.
Or their deficiencies. And that's what scouts are supposed to look for. But that's also what helps make players better, hopefully, is to recognize their flaws and then work on them. Anyways, before we move on, I want to just say that I feel like Jeff Passan needs to be a little bit more mature when confronting former baseball players. And I'm not saying Doug Mankiewicz is being mature for getting into an argument with him either, but you're a journalist, you're representing a company, and you weren't a former player. It's not your job to get into fights with former players. You just ignore it. Or just say, if you want to call me and talk about it, DM me. I'll give you my number.
Yeah.
Something like that. We can talk on the record about it. I'll publish your story.
Be professional.
Be professional. Always maintain your journalistic integrity. Right now, you just seem like you want to dunk on a dude that, had an 11.8 career WAR. I don't know.
Anyway.
All right. Well, moving on. We weren't done with establishment people getting involved in the conversation. And this one was just a little bit of a short one. But I also noticed 8 days later, on August 8th, after the trading deadline, Jon Heyman from the New York Post, and we also see him on 670 The Score and MLB Network, and he just loves to be on camera talking about baseball. He had the great Ohtani can't get hit in retaliation piece that we did a few weeks back. So if you haven't watched that, go check that out. It's one of my favorites. But Jon Heyman decided to tweet, "Batting average doesn't matter anymore, ? The top 5 teams for batting average are in first place." And I want to remind everyone this was on August 8th, but nevertheless, you have Jeff Passan on August 1st, July 31st, trading deadline, saying, batting average is the metric people don't care about anymore. And then you have Jon Heyman, different generation, a little older, saying the top 5 teams in the league right now are all happen to be leading in batting average. So does it matter anymore? Does it not matter anymore? You know what was funny though? Guess who responded, Nika? Guess.
Oh, who? I don't know.
Take a guess. Come on.
I don't know. Some establishment talking head.
No. Doug Mankiewicz.
Oh, of course. No, I was thinking.
You weren't thinking where I was
No,
trying to
I
lead
guess
you.
not.
But nevertheless, Doug Mankiewicz responded to Jon Heyman and says, "Weird, odd, and ironic. Crazy how simple it can be, even to those who make a living complicating simplicity." So Doug obviously 8 days later had not let it go with Jeff Passan and Ken Rosenthal, August 21st or whatever it was this week, talking about fundamentals. And to me, it's all tied in together a little bit. And, I wanted to actually put Jon Heyman's theory to the test a little bit to wrap up this segment and see who's right and who's wrong, at least in the modern game, right?
Okay.
Because Jeff Passan is coming at this argument from a Moneyball argument, saying like we like people because they get on base, and so if someone has a higher on base percentage and they don't have as high of a batting average as somebody else, but they have a higher on base, then they're a better value player.
Okay.
And ever since Moneyball was instituted by the A's in 2003, and then we had the movie and the book about it, it's like more teams have moved to get these huge analytics departments and try to find ways to scheme, right? Try to find analytical ways to find wins.
Absolutely.
All right. So this has led a whole generation now to move away from batting average and move towards on-base percentage. And, for me, that's making the game boring because you got more guys walking, less attacking at the plate. I like to see hits. I like to see guys hit the ball. I liked hitting the ball when I was younger. It brought me joy, and when I watch modern baseball, I think it's a balance, right? You want to have guys that are attacking at the plate, but you also don't want them swinging at junk outside of the zone. And more pitchers throw junk outside of the zone these days. So it's a tough argument. But what does the data tell us, Nika? Well, I grabbed the standings from today. We can see the American League standings. Detroit, Toronto, and Houston are leading their divisions. New York, Boston, and Seattle are the wild card teams. Okay. And then the NL, we got the Brewers, the Phillies, and the Dodgers are leading their divisions, and the Cubs, Padres, and Mets are in the wild card slots, respectively. Right now, I would also throw the Reds in there. They're a half game out, so maybe they can catch the Mets. So how does that factor in? Well, let's look at the team average leaders today. Jon Heyman's tweet was on August 8th. The batting average leaders today: Toronto, Philadelphia, Milwaukee, LA, and the Athletics, currently cityless.
Okay.
Just the Athletics. That's the top five. So the Athletics are not a playoff team. So things have changed a little bit. But if you continue down the list, the Astros are 6th, the Red Sox are 7th, the Padres are 8th, the Yankees are 9th, and the Miami Marlins are 10th. So 8 out of the top 10 teams are playoff teams when it comes to batting average right now. And we also know the Miami Marlins have been on fire since they started 24 and 40. They have been much better. I don't have the exact numbers in front of me, but
they've been winning games.
Way above 500.
Yes.
Anyways, top 10 teams in average, 8 out of 10. If you move over to on-base percentage, we got the Blue Jays again leading, the Dodgers, the Brewers, the Yankees, the Phillies, but then it goes Diamondbacks, Red Sox, Padres, Mets, and Braves. So on-base percentage, we get 8 out of 10 again. On-base plus slugging, which is the stat that everyone cares about these days, right? How often do you get on base and how hard you can hit the ball and hit home runs, and can you hit for power and have a good eye?
Yeah.
Basically, you're a coach's wet dream.
Yes.
We have a change at the top. It's the Yankees who are the OPS leaders, followed by the Dodgers. And then you have the Blue Jays, but then you have Diamondbacks, Athletics. Then you go Phillies, Boston, Cubs, Tigers, Mets. So again, you have 8 out of 10 teams here. But what I will say is when you look at the top teams, like the Brewers, we didn't really mention the Brewers once. They were third in on-base percentage, but they're 11th in on-base plus slugging. The Brewers are also they are third in batting average. So the best team in baseball is not in the top 10 in on-base plus slugging, but they are in the top 3 in batting average, and they are in the top 3 in on-base percentage.
Okay.
So really quickly, just looking at this data, it just kind of tells me that average and on-base percentage are slightly more important than on-base plus slugging is. Ultimately, I think we got into this with the Padres a little bit earlier when we did the segment on the Dodgers-Padres matchup that's coming up this weekend, and how the Padres do terribly with runners in scoring position. And I think sometimes we need to look at those stats a little bit more, because I want to know who can get hits when I got guys on base. And it seems like people look at that as a luck stat nowadays. And I think that that's horse crap. I don't think it's luck. I think there's guys with certain blood in their veins that go up there and can sniff out runs and drive them in.
Some guys, but not all.
But it's not luck. You got to have that. You got to have that in your veins to do it, you know? In the end, I think OPS might be able to gauge a player's individual success, but I don't think it has anything to do with team success.
And you also need both. You need sluggers and you need base runners. You can't have just a team that's going to be slugging their way to playoffs, because at some point they go cold.
I think the most correct answer in all of this is what you just said. We need a team with balance. You need a team of sluggers. You need a team of guys that get on base. You need to set the deck before you clear the deck.
Right.
You know, you need to have guys that are fast. You need to have guys that can thump.
Absolutely.
You need to have guys that take a lot of pitches and work a pitcher and can foul off 8 or 9 pitches, you know? And
you have to keep in mind that every single player or the kid that wants to play baseball has that power for homers. They want to put the ball in play first. You got to learn the fundamentals, then move up. Your power will come with age.
It will, 100%. I think it's more important for young players to learn to hit with the pitch, to hit the outside pitch to the opposite field with on a line drive.
Yes.
The home runs will come, like you said. So let us know what you think in the comments below. Who's right here? Is anybody right? Or do you agree with Nika and I that these guys need to have, or teams just need to be balanced on the whole? You can't have a team of sluggers and you can't have a team of hitters that, you know,
you need
fail to get on base and work pitchers. So
you do.
You need everything. You need a little bit of everything. And I think that's ultimately where this is going to lead down, is not that there's one that's better than the other. It's just more of like, do we have a balanced mixture of different types of players? And, oh, by the way, are they gelling together as a unit?
Yes.
So,
and that's probably the most important part.
Absolutely.
Because it's a team at the end of the day. It is a team sport. Yes, 100%. You have individual stats.